So, you want to print my Bamboozler? Now do ya?
Alright, so first things first, of course, you need to print out all of the parts. I have 3MF files listed in all of the links below. I highly recommend you just print them out from there because all of the settings are all configured and they're all split into parts so they can print out perfectly. But for whatever reason, if you don't want to do that, I do have just the separate step files provided as well. After you've printed everything out and removed all of the supports, here are all the parts. The handle top and bottom, the handle connector. The main body itself is labeled pretty simply. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Has this 7 on the bottom. Essentially, whatever number is bumped out of the part, that's what part number it is. We also have the near sight, which consists of the main body, the big knob, the small pin, the long pin, and the near sight. The far sight consists of 4 and 6, as well as the far sight point. And then we've got the lid, which has the lid connector, the lid itself, and the stopper. And connecting them together is a bunch of pins. So we have 4 long ones, 2 short ones, 2 hexagonal looking ones like this, and then 2 round ones. One of them, this one is thicker than the other, but the thinner one is longer than the other. You can see it extends out like that. And then for non-printed parts, you're going to want some super glue. By the way, all the filaments I used were Bamboo Lab Basic PLA. The green stuff is Bamboo Green. I did run out part of the way through and I switched to the matte grass green instead. This white part of the bamboo wood is cream. This is dark gray. Any of these guys that you see are silver. The pegs don't matter what color they are, but I printed them in red. The lid is magenta with silver accents. And the stopper is black. Now, there are quite a few pieces, as you can see. They were just simply too complicated to try to make into a single color print that you could assemble afterwards. So if you do want to print it out and you don't have the ability to print in multicolors, you can just basically paint this green instead and have all of the parts with silver on it just be only dark gray. You'll be perfectly fine. You'll just be missing a few details. And just a couple things about print settings. If you do want to set them yourself, you are going to want to turn on supports for all of the pieces. You just want to be careful and put support blockers in all of these holes. They don't need it and they'll just be a pain for you to get out. The biggest warning I want to give is the handle connector. Unfortunately, just how it's shaped, there's a hole in this way and a hole in that way. So you're just going to want to put blockers here, and then you will have to be pulling some support trees out of there. That's inevitable. After you've done that, we can proceed with putting it all together. It's pretty simple. We'll just take one and we'll dry fit it to start to make sure we've got everything together. We'll put the long pins here, and then you'll see on number 2 there's a mirrored one-shape hole. So we'll just line those up and then glue it together like that. Easy as pie. Now when gluing it, I like to put some glue around the inside like this. And then stick the peg in there all the way down. Boop. Put a little bit around here. And then do the same thing on the sides of these pegs here. And then just put them together. Boom. And then gravity can just hold them together like that. So speaking of gravity, let's move over here to the floor and we'll work our way down the list, but I'll just do it over here so you can still see it. Now, of course, this one goes all the way through, so you might not want to glue around here just yet. Glue a little bit farther down so that when you do put it on, you don't have glue hanging out here drying too quickly. Instead, when you put 4 on, you put it in there, and there you go. Now do be careful, it doesn't stick out a whole lot into 5, so I would recommend you go a little bit heavier on the glue when it comes to number 5. Next up, we'll use the shorter pins and then make our way down to 6, 7, and 8. And then finally, we'll cap it off with number 8 here. Keep in mind, there is no actual number 8 written on 8. It just has the 7. Now you can put something heavy on that if you really want it to stay in place, but it should be good just like that. So let's shift back over to our main workspace. Let's build ourselves the handle. Now this is pretty simple. One is fatter and shorter, and the other one's longer and skinnier. So you cannot physically put them in the wrong side. See, this one fits in there, but if you take it out and flip around, it's too long, it can't fit in. This one is short enough to fit in, but if you flip it around, it's too fat and can't fit in that one. So again, there's probably going to be some support scarring here. Make sure that you can dry fit them in to each other before you proceed. So they will be sticking out a fair bit. That's okay. Just gonna glue them together. I'm just gonna put some glue on the end there. Oh, almost messed up, but I didn't, because I can't. Put some glue on the end there. Find the long and skinny, oh, that's a short and fat one. Long and skinny one. Fit that on there, glue that in. Put some more glue on here. Like that. And then we can just set that like this, off to the side. There we go. We'll use those pins later. So, this one's pretty simple. Take this lid. Put some glue in there. Take the stopper, line it up. Glue that in. Easy peasy. Now, technically, you do not need any glue to put these together. They are pressure fit together. Just make sure when you put it in like this, with this gaping mouth away, and not like this, where it's like that way. If that makes sense. So if you just squeeze that in there, it's a little bit tricky. Just make sure it's lined up properly. There you go. That won't be going anywhere. But just to make sure, I'm going to glue it. Again, like that, so it's this angle. The thick one should be up top. There should be 2 little silver bolts here. Don't know how I missed them. They will absolutely be fixed for the live release. So one thing we can do to make sure that it's all together properly, we can put glue here and attach the end sight point. Now the actual point side goes that way, but it's impossible to mess it up because these 2 pegs are shaped differently. So we'll just attach that right on there. We can balance that like this. We're getting near the end, folks. We can dry fit the long pin like this through the side that has the big hole in it. Okay. That fits. And we're going to be running it through the sight. So just line it up so that the shapes match up. And then you should just be able to spear it. Like that. Boom. And then it should stick out the other end. So we'll just glue that in place. Put some glue there. Easy peasy. And then we can take the big knob. Oh, more support material. Put some glue in there. And then glue that in place. That's a pretty wobbly fit. Just to make sure it does fit. But as long as you glued it, it should be fine. The last 2 pieces are a bit tricky because not only will we be putting them onto this, we'll also be using them to attach it to the main body. So if you take a look at the main body, you can see that there's this divot here and these holes. So we're going to orient it so that the angled part of the sight matches up with this, and this hole matches up with that divot. So you can kind of see like that. It lines up a bit. Now on this side, we're going to put the short pin. So all we need to do, you can dry fit this if you are not confident beforehand. Oh shoot, it's a lot of glue. Put this in, and then just make sure it lines up with the hole, like that. It'll snap in place. And then quickly, you can put some more glue in here, And you can see there's a triangle notch in here, and there's a triangle sticking out a bit here. You can line those right up so that this is horizontal. It's parallel with the main body. Stick that together. And then once the glue dries, that ain't coming undone. We've got our 2 hexagon-looking boys. You can probably guess what we're doing with them. We're just sticking them in there. Got a little burr on there. Got to be careful you don't have any extra plastic to get stuck in there. All right, I'm going to do a slight revision. On the real release, this will be skinnier and much easier to fit in. And I'm just going to be removing the need for this one entirely. It's not necessarily, honestly. Yeah, I had to press that down real hard to get it on, so I will definitely make the tolerances bigger on that. It will be easier to put on for the main build. Sorry about that. Hello, Carl here. Just wanted to take a moment to apologize for that last part. So unfortunately, I don't have the resources or time to print out an entire prototype and then test it before filming. But of course, all my models are free to download, so if you like what I do, please like, comment, share, subscribe, download my models, especially on MakerWorld. You can boost them over there. Every little bit of engagement that I get helps to boost my stuff in the algorithm and help it get even more popular, which means that I can get even more resources to have the ability to do things like print an entire prototype out and test it and put it together before filming the actual construction video. It also helps me do things like not run out of filament halfway through the print, or things like, you know, maybe have a dedicated studio to record instead of just doing this in my bathroom while my girlfriend's busy in the next room. But in any case, I appreciate everybody watching this video. I also have a Ko-Fi right here if you would like to donate directly. Apologies again, sorry for the interruption, and back to the assembly video. All right, a couple things you can do with the site as well that I forgot, to be honest. Glue down there and in there just to keep it stable. And then you can sneak some more glue. Theoretically, you want to glue this to the long pin that you put in, but that didn't happen for me, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there, and then that'll keep it from being all wobbly. Now for the finishing touch, we simply put some glue in the mouth of the alligator here, cap it up because we're done, and then we simply insert it in there, and then hold it on while the glue dries, and then we're done.
And now we've got the final product. I appreciate you watching till the end, and if you downloaded and printed my model, thank you. It really helps out the channel and helps me get one step closer to being able to do this full time. If you want to print out the surprisingly actually real size version, I'll include a link to that video down in the description below. But other than that, remember to subscribe, support me on all my everything, and I'll see you next time. Bye.